Many people's childhood video game memories stem from Nintendo, as most of their games offer an adventurous and welcoming environment, such as Mario, Pokemon, and The Legend of Zelda. We've all played or at least heard of these games, and for some have found a few things pretty creepy, such as the piano startling you in Super Mario 64, or maybe it's the music and mood of Lavender Town from Pokemon Red and Blue. And a big contender for creepiness, Ocarina of Time's Dead Hands boss fight. Today though, we're not going to be focusing on the obvious, but the more hidden creepy moments of Nintendo games. Starting off this list is the face of Nintendo, Mario, specifically in Super Mario Galaxy 2, and one of the most known secrets, the Hell Valley Sky Trees. Found in Worlds 5, Shiverburn Galaxy, once in the area and enterable in first person, looking up and to the left you'll spot the 3 dark figures on top of the map. They're lengthy black creatures with a hollow gaze. The most accepted theory of what they are is a Japanese folklore creature, a Kodama spirit. Extremely summarized, it's an echo in forests or valleys given a physical form. Onto the second most popular franchise of Nintendo, Pokemon, and their past of creepy Easter eggs and details. Found in Pokemon X and Y in Lumio City, entering the second level of an office building, the music fades along with the lights, and once back on, this ghost girl walks up behind you and says, "No, you're not the one." She seems to resemble a Hex Maniac, which is a psychic and ghost-type trainer. Found again in a hotel in the game, but with different dialogue. Finally, in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire at Mount Pyre, you can find a Hex Maniac saying the same line. There's no known identities of the ghost, and I assume she's just a fun nod to the Hex Maniac's ghost type and its eeriness. The director even laughed it off when showed a video of who she was. Jumping into Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, during the Phoebe fight, when she's done talking, it fades to black, and for a couple frames you can spot the ghost of a child in a chair behind her. The camera's movements also follow if you put it into the point of view of the ghost as it gets up from the chair. And on the next shot, you can see the ghost standing behind your character. One thing to mention is Phoebe is a ghost type trainer, and that most likely contributes to why there's a ghost in the same room. Let's get into some ambient, shall we? In Splatoon 1 and 2, before and after boss fights, when no other sounds interrupt, you can hear the game's ambient track, which after some time includes metal banging and screams coming from around the arena. The coolest part is that the director said that the noises were news to him. He made the general noises for the ambience, and his team worked on the rest. There were only a few minor changes in Splatoon 2, so it wasn't disliked enough to remove. Another addition to Splatoon's sound is during the second game Splatfest. If you're quiet enough, you can hear the 2 statues on the map laughing. One of them shares the same laugh as Galactos from Skyward Sword, as Horse Feathers mentioned in his video. Now, onto Nintendo's most friendly game, Animal Crossing. Filled with bright colors and the encouragement of sharing with other players, underneath all this though is a fair share of creepy secrets. To start off, early in its career on the GameCube, when traveling to a friend's world, if you reset the GameCube and load back into your world again, since it wasn't saved correctly, you won't have any of your items and your character will share the same face as a gyroid, but more hollow-like and empty-eyed expression compared to its decorative counterpart. It would be pretty unsettling as a child to see your beloved character staring hollowly into your eyes. Coming second in these Animal Crossing secrets, in New Leaf, head in front of a TV on a Sunday or Monday and wait until 3:30 a.m. You'll notice an alien screen speaking about who knows what at 3:30 in the morning. This can also be caught doing the same thing in New Horizons, just with some minor differences in pitch and visuals. Another Nintendo game with a nod to the time of day is Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town. Make your way to a TV at 4:44 and watch it. It'll cause a glitch with the dialog box to constantly open and close displaying 444, but only in the Japanese version. I'd say it's most impactful in that version, as 4 is pronounced the same as death in Japanese. And if you're interested, the North American version reads 13133300. It'll end by waiting its cycle out or restarting the Game Boy. Nintendo just seems to like adding creepy stuff into their games for fun. We touched on Super Mario Galaxy 2 in the beginning, but this time we're jumping into Super Mario 3D Land. Making your way to World 4-4 in the Ghost House, passing the flag post and waiting 30 seconds, you'll spot a pretty harrowing pale face. This figure outside of the map is following you constantly throughout the level. An explanation for this Easter egg, as mentioned before, with the number 4 being pronounced the same as death, which are the numbers for the level. most likely just here to creep you out in a haunted house related map. Let's head into a more lighthearted game with creepy undertones. Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker is a simple puzzle game, but making your way to Bizarre's doors in Boo's mansion level, waiting 5 minutes, some mysterious handprints will make their way onto a brick wall. Nothing crazy, but just some fun and simple creepiness. A little further in the game, on level 317, heading to the front of the train and looking ahead below the tracks at the 311 mark, you can just ever so spot a stretched out Boo, mischievously hiding in the background forever in a laughing animation. For the last of the less chilling Easter eggs before we jump into the darker side, a strange concept to come upon gaming but no short of chilling Easter eggs, using the Toy Con house. Inside is a fluffy creature that you can mess around with, but putting the creature to sleep with the mobile will cause the room to be turned over with a series of eerie sequences. Heading into some of the darker secrets in my opinion, visually, but also with a deeper meaning, such as with the level Out of This Dimension in Star Fox. It's a dimension out of the known space of the Lilat system, distorted planets with faces and no contact to the team. Star Fox is lost. There's only one other document of another person who's entered this space before. You're lost in this time-space in a somewhat alternate ending to the original game. You can hear the theme playing for the credits. Not terribly scary, but imagine the planets with faces and the unknown lying ahead with no contact, it becomes quite uneasy. I know we've already covered Animal Crossing twice, but it just keeps coming with no short of creepiness behind the happiness. In the Happy Homes Paradise DLC, talking to Huck, you'll acquire the graveyard wallpaper. Little did you know that it's creepier than it already seems. Turning the lights on and off, lurking behind the trees is a ghost that gets closer with each flick of the switch. One that I can't determine is worthwhile here is a Game Boy camera Easter egg. Press shoot. From there are many other options. Hitting the run button seems humorous with nothing to run from, and a nod to Pokemon. You'd be absolutely right though, nothing here besides a simple reference and a map of Africa with some neutral music. But try it several more times and you can be met with these disturbing faces without the friendly music from before. Okay, maybe not that scary, but with the Game Boy camera already having a weird aesthetic and being able to run into these faces if an error occurs in the game, just imagine playing with the Game Boy camera as a young kid and just messing around and actually stumbling upon one of these eerie faces. It'd be pretty unsettling. In conclusion to most of these, Nintendo for sure knows what they're doing adding a bunch of these secrets in, especially as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, as we often just stumble upon the general ones. There is no doubt though that they reuse assets and add subtle things in, to bring some frightening moments without us realizing to their games. At least for kids that is. The Japanese society as a whole has so many myths and secrets related to everything in general, it's not a surprise that the biggest game company of theirs does the same.